Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. This is Dad with more Undecember tips. So in this video I'm going to show you guys why Toxic Flame build is the best build in the game. That's right. I know some of you are already frowning and saying, no, it's not. Well, it is. I'm going to prove it to you guys, and you feel free to go to the comment section and say, Dad, you're crazy, man. It's not the best one. But these are my reasons why I think it's the best, and you don't need to agree with me, all right? It's my opinion. So number one reason why Toxic Flame build is the best one in the game is it's easy to get. By Act 2, you can go to the Mystic, and you already have access to the three main skills that will carry you all the way to the end of the acts, and you can already do some of the end game content only with this skill runes, which is Poison Area, Release Element, and Toxic Flame. So you already get the three main skill runes that you need to carry you all the way to the end game, and those are the ones that I actually ran so far. I actually run so far. Only recently I got Seal of Condensed Elements. Only recently I have added a Bulwark of Protection because only now I got buff activation when hit, and only recently have I gotten Mana Storm and Mana Storm and Element Damage Amplification. Element Damage Amplification a little earlier, but Mana Storm only by level 92 did I get it. So you don't really need Mana Storm. You don't really need Element Damage Amplification. Don't really need Seal of Condensed Elements. Bulwark of Protection, which is it's easy to get, but I'm just saying with Toxic Flame, Poison Area, and Release Element, you can go all the way to the end game only with those. And by Act 3, you get your main link rune, which is Dot. Okay? I'm not saying that it's the most powerful one. It's going to be the most powerful one for a long while until you get Mana Storm and Element Damage Amplification, although even Element Damage Amplification is very close to Dot in terms of DPS. That's how powerful Dot is for this build. So by Act 3, you can already have access to Dot. So your main skills by Act 3, you already have the Toxic Flame, the Poison Area, you have Release Element, you have Dot, you have all that you need to carry you all the way to the end game by Act 3. And by Act 6, you get all the other stuff. Let's go here to Act 6. And then we go to the Mystic, Rune Shop, and we get now Leap Attack, we get Teleport, so we get all the movement stuff that we need, but those are not necessarily for Toxic Flame. But now we get additional poison damage, which is going to be our third best DPS link rune around Toxic Flame. We get Multi-Shot, we get Elite Slayer, which can be quite useful, and we get here at the end spell damage increase. So for a long while, all the way into the end game, my biggest DPS link rune was Dot. Second place was spell damage increase. Third place was additional poison damage. All right, so additional poison damage. So those three you get very early in the game, and they will carry you all the way to the end game. All right, so number one reason why Toxic Flame is the best build, it's very easy to get. Now, number two reason why Toxic Flame is the best build, it's cheap. Now, I already showed you guys, you don't really need to craft anything. You don't need to invest in crafting rare skills, rare link runes. You don't need to fill your board with a lot of skills to make the build work. No, all you need is the Toxic Flame, your Poison Area. In the Poison Area, I will even go as far as saying that the Poison Area is not necessary. I really like it. I think it adds a lot to the build. There are situations where you can use the Poison Area that is going to help you out by a lot, but it's not necessary. It's just like something that really helps you out. But so you can even share your main link rooms with poison area, so you don't have to invest in those twice. So with only those two skill rooms, poison area and toxic flame, when we're talking about DPS, because you can leave your release element, you can take your time upgrading it, but you don't really need to invest a lot. So with a very small investment, you can make a powerful build. Now, because it's cheaper to evolve, that means that you will make them level up faster. Because there are not many link rooms involved, that means that you can focus all your gold and your rune growth materials on the stuff that you need, and it's very few stuff. When you go to my storage here, I'm going to show you guys my rune growth materials. I have a lot of rune growth materials because I don't really need all this stuff. Okay, so I don't have room for my minor blue elements. I need to place them on in my bag. So number two reason why Toxic Flame build is the best build. It's very cheap. Now, the third reason why the Toxic Flame build is the best build is because it's very easy to play. All right, so let me show you guys what I mean by easy to play. First of all, you add here 5 stacks, and which is the maximum, and it takes 4 seconds to drop a stack, and then you can just move around. Like suppose I'm attacking a boss here, I'm fighting a boss. It takes 4 seconds to drop a stack, so I have the freedom to move around, avoid traps, avoid area damage from the boss, and just keep adding maximum damage, because it takes 4 seconds to drop one of my 5 stacks. So this makes it easier to kill bosses. Not only that, one hit ticks 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and those are fast ticks. So when you are fighting the boss, it's very common for you to get some testimonies from people saying, I died, and after I died, the boss died because of those dots. So very, very good. And I really like, it's not just about the toxic flame. The poison area is a huge addition to this build because it really does a lot of damage, and there's a lot of situations where you can use the poison area to help you out. Like, for instance, you're going to open a one of those monster boxes. You can just open the box, and then you teleport back, and then you put a poison area, and then you fire away, and those mobs, they will walk on the poison area to try to reach you, and they will just die. You are crossing a bridge, and before you leave the bridge, you put a poison area and you start firing, and that will call the mobs in your direction, and they will just step on the poison area and they will die. You can enter a room, and before you enter a room, you just put the poison area inside the room, and then you go and then you attack the mobs and leave the room, and they'll just go and step on the poison area and die. So poison area is a very good addition. You can just leave the poison area on the bosses as well. A lot of bosses, they will go straight at you, so you can just fire at the boss. That makes the boss active and go after you and leave the poison area. You leave a trail of poison area as you fire at the boss. So it's a very simple build. It's very easy to use, and it's very powerful, does a lot of damage. So it's very easy to play. Now, another reason why it's very easy to play is because, and this is a third reason together with the fourth reason. The fourth reason why Toxic Flame is the best build is because it's very powerful. One of the reasons why Toxic Flame is very powerful is because one of the reasons it pierces all. So what pierces all means is that when you fire your projectiles, it go through all the mobs on the way. So you have a bunch of mobs coming your way, you fire your toxic flame, it's gonna pierce and go through all the mobs. No, that's not how projectiles work in this game. Usually they will hit the first mob and they will stop there. So to go through those mobs, other builds need to invest in piercing. You don't need to invest in piercing in Toxic Flame. By default, as soon as you equip your Toxic Flame, you are already piercing all. So that means that it's a very powerful build for farming. It's very easy to farm, and every time you pierce all those mobs, you already are applying dots in all those mobs. That's why it's easy for Toxic Flame players to farm, and that's why this build is very easy to take all the way to the end game. And when you reach the end game, the main content that you do is farming. You're gonna farm those chaos cards, and Toxic Flame will continue to be very good at it at the end game. So it's a very powerful build, element based. There's a lot of zodiac nodes. There's a lot of gears that will be very good for the build, that will amplify the damage of the build. So it is overall a very, very strong, powerful, easy to play build, easy to get, cheap to evolve. And the final reason why Toxic Flame is the best build is because it's so flexible to play with. I'm playing an armor based. Right now I'm using the Zodiac node that gives me 40% damage if I have at least 200 points in each stat. But before I got that, I was doing int and strength. And a lot of people ask me what are the stats for this build, and my answer is always the same. It really depends how you want to play the build, because the build is so flexible. You can go full intelligence and make your build focused on it's like a barrier build. So that is going to affect the types of gear that you're going to use. You can go dexterity. You cannot go full dexterity because Toxic Flame is an int based skill. So you need to have the minimum amount. For instance, if I go here to Toxic Flame, it's going to ask for 227 intelligence. So you always need to have points on intelligence to play with Toxic Flame. But the rest of those points you can put somewhere else if you want to. And some players put them on dexterity, and that means that they're going to play a tax of evasion build, and that means that they can replace those scepters for daggers, and if I want to, I can easily change from scepters to daggers. So that's how flexible the build is. Of course, I would have to change all my gears, and I would have to reinvest on the Zodiac. But you don't need to reinvest on skills. You don't need to reinvest on link rooms. Maybe one or two things, but I really don't think so. It's really just a matter of gear and Zodiac, and I can switch from pure Toxic Flame to Whirlwind Toxic Flame if I want to, and I really don't have to do a lot of investment to do that. So Toxic Flame is also very flexible to play with. You can play with in many different ways, and it's because it's very cheap to play and to evolve. Even when you switch, you don't need to spend a lot. So those are my 5 reasons why Toxic Flame is the best build in the game. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Don't worry, I have a thick skin. You can, you can say all that you want. Of course, just be respectful to me and to the community, but you feel free to disagree. All right. I'm aware that in the Korean servers, there's a lot of powerful builds that are creep based at the late end game. People say that without a creep based skill, you won't do much, but I'm gonna give it a try. All right. And let's keep in mind that most players, they are not on the top of the pyramid. Most players are casual. Most players are not going to reach the late end game. So I would even go as far as saying that that's the 6th reason why Toxic Flame is the best build, because it's going to be the best build for most players, for a higher percentage of players in the game. this is the best build for them. They won't be able to invest all that you need to invest to make one of those very powerful crit-based builds. So this is it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Press the like button if you did. If you didn't, that's okay. If you want to help the channel to grow, you can always share my videos. You can go to my Discord server. The link is in the description. The Discord server is actually a very good place for you to hang out and meet people. We have a growing community here with almost 500 people here in the community. I share all my builds. You can share builds as well. I keep the place updated with news. There's an ask for help section here. I always add helpful links. So make sure you also join our Discord server, our community, which is a growing community. It's not only about Undecember. I'll be adding more games in the future. Very anxious about the new season for Path of Exile, and pretty soon gonna have Diablo 4 as well. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.